Hi guys, this is a video that has been highly requested and I've really put off making for various reasons, but there are no reasons not to make it anymore. I've decided that I'm going to film it for you today, and it is my handbag collection. I'm going to kick off with the one that is right next to me because it's the one that I'm using all the time. It's the one that I'm wearing right now. And it is this. It is the Louis Vuitton Neverfull MM in the damier, I want to say a bean, I'm going to say a bean canvas. And this is basically a canvas bag. It is, it's not leather. This is the thing. It was a really expensive bag, and the thing that really tore my heart out to actually pay that kind of money for a bag was because it wasn't leather. But for those of you thinking about maybe buying this bag, I have to assure you that it is so worth the money. It's worth the money, you know, if we're talking relatively. If you have the money to spend and you're kind of, I don't know, it's not leather, that doesn't bother me at all anymore because it lasts and it lasts and it looks brand new. It's completely amazing. In fact, the only part that you can see wear on are the little leather detailing kind of on the strap and around the rim of the bag. But underneath the bag you can see there's just absolutely no damage whatsoever, and I do not look after this bag. I know that sounds horrendous, but it's my kind of go-to, throw everything in it, cart it around kind of bag. I'm not precious with it at all. I realised the other day it was on the floor and it was heavy, and I kind of dragged it towards me and I thought, oh my god, what am I doing? And I looked at the bottom of the bag and I thought, I must do that all the time, and there is not one mark. And it's all because it's not leather. It's not that kind of soft calfskin leather. It is coated canvas. You could probably put it in the bath or washing machine it. It'd probably be okay. But I do have little niggly problems with some of the piping around the edges, which is something that I did worry about because if you've read a lot of the forums about this particular bag, people experience cracking. That's not something that I've experienced, but I do have little things where it's scuffed and worn away. Nothing major, but this bag is about a year old, and that's pretty much the only thing that I can say that is actually worn on it, and I've worn it so much. The straps are totally fine. There's nothing that appears to be damaged about those. Just wanted to mention that because they're all the things that made me a bit scared to buy it in the first place. So if you are looking at this and thinking about buying it but nervous of those things, don't be, because I think it's one of those things that I just didn't want to regret this purchase, and I really don't. I wear it all the time. Lastly, something I get questions about all the time is this tag. I bought this separately and I don't remember how much it was. I always think, oh, it must have been £5 or £10, and it can't have been that. It probably was something like £20. I don't know. I can't remember. The hot stamping is free. You can have it hot stamped here, which basically means put your initials on the bag. But they recommended not to do that for like resale value. I'm not really interested in selling the bag, but I guess it looks better on there than it does on the actual bag anyway. But yeah, this is a luggage tag. It doesn't necessarily come with the bag. They won't necessarily have them in stock, but I was lucky that they did. For those wondering, I think I paid around £550 for this bag. It was an insane amount of money at the time, and I don't know whether or not I could quite part with that amount of money again. It's one of those I really saved, and I'd saved several times, and I just couldn't bring myself to buy the bag. And finally I thought, you know what, in the time that I've saved several times, it had gone up by £100 because they increase in value so much every single year, or increase in price anyway, not in value. Something like 15 or 20% every single year. So I just thought, I'm eventually going to buy it. If I buy it now, I'll save myself some money down the line. So yes, it was a very expensive bag. It's the most expensive bag I'll be showing you that I paid anyway. And it's my love. The bags behind me, you can see this is where I store them. I'll show you this one, which would probably be one of the newer purchases. I got this while we were in New York in January time. This is the little Ukita from Marc by Marc Jacobs. And I will just show you. I've stuffed this inside here because I don't like it. I mentioned this in a video not that long ago, and I had no idea you could do this, but there is a little strap here which is supposed to be if you want to wear it in the crook of your arm, which I'm not. I'm just not that kind of girl. I have to have some kind of shoulder strap or I'm never going to wear the bag. So there's that there that used to really bug me, and this is one of those bags that, again, I can throw things in. It's a very casual slouchy bag, but it's very polished, and I think it still looks really nice. And I didn't know, but you can actually tuck this inside the bag, so I will just show you, because people were like, oh, you can do that, it's fine, and I was going, no, it definitely won't fit, but it does. I was proved wrong. And it doesn't really get in the way of the things in the bag either, because that's tucked inside the bag there, and you just kind of push it out of the way and you can get into your stuff. So it doesn't bother me in the slightest once it's actually tucked in. And then the bag looks like that, which is much nicer if you ask me. I then have my little bags, which don't get a lot of wear because I don't go out that much. I just don't. I don't have a lot of occasions to wear little bags, but I'll go through them for you. These are my mini Macs. I have one in the original buckle and one with the zips. And there you go, next to each other. They're exactly the same bag. When you open them up, I don't know, other than the actual chains, which is, this is how both of them are carried. Other than the chains, there's nothing inside them, so it's not a lot to see. But they actually hold more than you would imagine for very, very small bags. Each of them are slightly different on the back. They're slightly different in kind of age. I think that the buckles on the MAC bags have changed over time. And I believe the clasp now has RM printed on it. I think I might have another one that has the RM, I can't remember. But yeah, that's a slightly older one. And then some of them have these plates on the back that say Rebecca Minkoff, some of them don't. I don't think that it's a sign that, you know, one is fake, one is not fake. I've looked up a lot of these online. If you do buy one in a store or buy one online and it's slightly different, just have a look online, because you may think you've got a bit of a fake, but it might not be, because she's actually made a few changes to these bags. But these are some of my favourite bags. The leather is so soft. Again, it's quite pebbled. I do get a little bit worried about getting marks on them because they are quite light in colour, but I don't use them all that much. The other two that I have are Saffiano leather, which is much hardier. It's this kind of textured, almost plasticky feeling leather. This one is brand new to me. My friend gave it to me yesterday. She just came back from America and she brought me this back as a present because she went to the Kate Spade outlet in Las Vegas. So how excited was I? Purple is my favourite colour, and I do love a little bit of Kate Spade. And this bag is called the Sally. I'm assuming, because Kate Spade have those weird things. I've got a person, what is it called? It's got like 3 different names. It'll say what the style of the bag is, what the style of the leather is, and what the colour of the leather is. And I think the colour of that one is Snapdragon. It's like a hot pink. Amazing. And this one says Sally, which I'm assuming is the bag itself. Newbury Lane, which could mean anything. And I think Aster is the colour. And this is this. And then this is the lining, which is beautiful. A very, very small bag, which quite honestly, I'm not sure when I'm going to get a chance to use. Some point I will find a chance to use it, but it's kind of going to be a phone and a little bit of makeup in that bag. I don't know. It's going to definitely be an evening out kind of bag. And that one's got a long strap like that, like a shoulder strap or a crossbody strap, I suppose, if you want. And then the other one that I have is also Rebecca Minkoff. And this one, man, what is this one called? I will remember and I will put it in the info bar, or I'll look it up and I'll put it in the info bar. I can't believe I can't remember what this one's called. But this one, again, with the Rebecca Minkoffs, they all have different lining, which kind of tells you what season it's from, I suppose. They also all come with like a little care card, which for some reason I have still got in this, even though I've used it a few times. The reason I love this one so much, and they come in so many different colour combinations, this particular bag, it just reminds me so much of the Chanel flap bags, because it has this flap, and then it has like another hidden flap, and it's all magnetic. Even this one's magnetic, although it does have this as well. I hardly ever use this, it's just a magnetic closure. But I just love this little secret extra on it. So it's just a little Chanel detail, because I'm never going to have a Chanel bag. So that will have to do. I kind of wish that they made this particular style in a slightly larger bag, because if it was just a little bit bigger, I would get so much use out of it. But as is, I can kind of maybe at a push put in my everyday essentials and like maybe a nappy and some baby wipes. I need those things if we're going to be out as a family at the weekend, and I can just fit things in. And I really don't like to have to be kind of only just being able to close my bag, which is why I love the Neverfull, because when we're out and we've got all kinds of things, I like to be able to have a change of clothes for him and like snacks for him and Ella, and it's just not going to happen with one of these little bags. So this is another one that's kind of, it's for when I'm on my own, or we're out as a couple without the children, which is rare, or as an evening bag, which is actually what I used it as yesterday. So that is that one. I then, up here, have 2 more Macs. I have a Mac Daddy, which is, I don't know if you can see that, I'll slightly, there you go. A Mac Daddy, which is the black one, and a regular Mac. So they're slightly different sizes, and I will show you the ones, all 3 of them, to compare in size. This was my first kind of designer handbag, if we're calling Rebecca Minkoff designer, which I am. I'm going to say that that's a designer bag, because I was like jumping for joy over the moon, and it was a slippery slope, because I only bought this In fact, it was bought for me for my birthday last year, which was like the beginning of last year. So we're kind of 18 months in and my collection has grown substantially. It's definitely one of those things that Rebecca Minkoff especially, I just love. Everything she creates, I have my eye on a few other ones at the moment, which I'll talk about at the end, kind of my lust list. But this was the first one that I got, and I wanted the regular MAC size, but they didn't have that in black. And so I got the MAC Daddy, which I am told is discontinued, so you can't get this size anymore. And it's huge. This is easily enough for every day-to-day thing that I would need. I could even fit maybe like a juice bottle or something in here. It's absolutely huge. Again, it has the big strap, which can be worn in 3 different ways, and all 3 bags. You can kind of link it so it's a shoulder bag, you can have it long as a crossbody bag, or you can take it off and wear it as a clutch, but this one's a little bit big for that, I think. But inside this one, if you look, you have all the pockets, which you would normally have in a bag, but in the middle, you have, is it in the middle? Yeah, or just to the side. You have kind of like one main compartment and then to the side. This is a padded pocket which will fit a full-size iPad, which is excellent. It's just, I hardly ever wear this bag anymore because I feel like on my frame, it's kind of too flat and too large. I kind of wish it was just slightly smaller. I kind of still do wish that I had the MAC in the black, which is why I don't wear it all that much. When I first got it, it was like the best thing in the world. I wore it 6 months straight without wearing any other bag. And I still will wear it, it's just not quite as often anymore, purely because on my frame I feel like it's a little bit big for the style of bag. But I do love that. And again, this has got that old style clasp, as I believe. I don't know, I don't totally get which one's the new and which one's the old. And that lining is slightly different. And the MAC size, I'll put that down because I'll show you the comparison. The MAC size has that print of the other one. You actually can also get some slight variations where they've got zips in the back and stuff, but I've never seen one of those. This one has the new clasp, which if you can see that, in fact I'll zoom in so that you can see that, it has RM engraved or embossed or whatever there on the clasp. We probably could have just done a Rebecca Minkoff collection, couldn't we? Let me zoom back out again. And then in all of these bags, when you open that up, there's a little zip. Never use that. It's just a bit of a faff, I suppose, because you'd have to unclasp that to use it. But then you could always leave it open and then it's available to you. If I had to fit more stuff in there, I probably would utilise that little bit of space for the things I didn't need so often, like keys or something like that. But this one just has one main pocket in the middle, a zip pocket, and then on the other side it has like a phone pocket or those 2 things there. This is really the perfect size of day bag. Not quite big enough to fit everything in it for the kids, but just if I only needed my own stuff, this is the perfect size. On my frame, I think it fits nicely, and it's just the perfect size. You don't need it any bigger than this and any smaller. Like even this particular size is nice for a night out bag as well. So if you were thinking about maybe getting a MAC bag, the mini MACs are really cute, but this one you would get more use out of if you got this particular size. So to compare, we have all 3 side by side, and they're very, very small kind of little differences, but obviously from the MAC Daddy to the mini MAC is huge. And this, for me, is just this one. This is the optimum size. I love this for a night out. This is the perfect evening out bag. I would love one of these in every single colour if I could afford it, but if you can only get one, this is the size to get. Also, these 2 leathers, just worth mentioning, are more of a smooth, kind of like shiny leather, rather than these pebbled ones that I have in the smaller sizes. Just the only thing to note there. But yeah, completely obsessed with this style. I think they're so functional, but depending on your kind of height and weight and all that, your particular build might depend on the one that would get the most wear out of for you. Okay, we're on to the last 2 bags, and last but not least, or penultimate but not least, is one of my favourite purchases, and I got this from eBay, which is probably why it's one of my favourite purchases, because I wanted this bag for the longest time, and I think full price it's somewhere in the region of £900, and I couldn't do it. I decided that I was going to get the smaller version, this is the Rocco, the Alexander Wang Rocco. I thought, no, on my frame it's going to look like a gym bag. Everyone online said that if you are kind of petite, and I'm quite small, I'm around 5'2", changes every time I measure myself, but let's just go with 5'2", around that, and give or take an inch or 2. But I'm small, and everyone online says if you are quite petite then this looks huge, and it's just ridiculous. And so I'd never seen one in real life, but I needed it, I wanted it. And I'd saved up, and when we went to New York, I was going to get the Rocky, which is 1, smaller, and 2, cheaper. That was what I was going for. I was like, yes, I can convince myself quite quickly that I need the cheaper one. I don't know about you guys, I mean, recently I've been looking at the Michael Kors Selma, and I quite quickly decided that I didn't need the largest one, because I can take off around £50 if we go down to the medium. Which is really ridiculous, because if the biggest one is the one that you need, then that's the one you should save up for, but you know where I'm coming from. So I decided I wanted the small one. I finally saw one in a store in New York, and I just couldn't part with the money. It was around £600, £700. So not a huge saving, but still a lot of money. And I got it out, and I took all the stuffing out, and I was wearing it in the store, and I was just like, it's not special enough for that amount of money. It just wasn't special enough. Maybe if it had been one with a special hardware, like there's a black on black one that looks amazing, and regardless, long story short, I didn't buy it. I bought the Marc Jacobs one instead, which was a total impulse buy, because I was not leaving that store without a new handbag, and they were way cheaper. I'd already adored that style for a really long time, but I'd never really I'd never had that, I'm gonna go and buy it. So I bought that. Didn't feel like much of a consolation prize, because I really loved it and I wore it for a long time and was happy with it. But soon enough, I wanted a Rocco again, and I kind of decided that the reason I didn't like the other one was because it was really a poor man's Rocco. Didn't want the Rocky, didn't want the smaller one, wanted the original large size. So I'd been looking on eBay, because I thought I'm never going to pay that insane amount of money for this bag. And I found this, and I think it was £300. It's one of those things, you buy something on eBay, you never know what it's going to look like. It might be really, really terrible. I never could find the right combination of hardware and colour, and I wanted silver hardware. That was the #1 thing that I wanted. I wanted a grey or a black. And this is actually forest green. Oh, it's just so soft. I haven't worn this in a couple of months because I've been carrying my Neverfull, and it's a really nice autumn bag as well. I might switch this out after this video now. But it's a forest green, and the only damage that there was there's this little mark here, and wherever it is, the piping was exposed here. And so I wore it for a while, and I realised that the piping was getting worse, and I looked it up, and there's not really anywhere near me that I could get that fixed. So what I decided to do was I'm going to sew up that piping there, but in the meantime, so it didn't get any worse, and some of you will just recoil in horror right now, but I cut the piping because it was really getting quite obvious and looping out there, the white piping, and you can't really see it as badly now. So what I'm going to do is get a matching thread and sew that up, so the piping casing that is now open will be closed, and hopefully that will solve the problem. But that was it. That was the only issue with this bag, and it was so massively reduced, and the colour is beautiful. It's so unusual. It's not necessarily a colour I would have bought from new, but in some lights it looks black, sometimes it looks grey, sometimes it looks green. I think it's coming off pretty green in this particular video, but yeah, it's just so perfect. The studding is amazing. I was just, you know when you buy something from eBay and it arrives and you're like, oh my god, it's even better than it was described, because I was worried. It was expensive and I was worried, but I was so happy with it. I wear this quite a lot. I must admit it is heavy. It's got nothing in it apart from some dust bags that I use to pad it out so that it doesn't lose its shape whilst it's in storage, but yeah, it is quite heavy. If I take it, it's big enough to carry everything I need for a weekend away, but it's really heavy to carry, so I probably wouldn't use it for that reason. I actually, when did I stop using this? I think it might have been only about a month ago, because when we were going to Paris for the weekend, I decided I didn't want to carry this because it was going to be heavy, so I took my Neverfull, which is a very light bag in itself. But the thing between these is this strap is quite thick, and it's got this shoulder protection thing on it, whereas these are so thin, and if it's very heavy, if I've got a lot of stuff in this, digs in and it's really painful. So which is the lesser of two evils, I'm not totally sure. This is heavier, but the actual strap is more comfortable. That one's not as heavy, but when it's got a lot of stuff in it, it's actually really quite uncomfortable as well. So I don't know, but this is one of my favourite bags, probably top 2. And like I say, I bought it second hand, so there's nothing wrong with buying things second hand. If there's something you desperately want and you can't afford it, I guarantee you will find a version that you're happy to part with your money on online. eBay is brilliant for that. The last bag is one I've had so many questions about. I will just pick it up off the floor. And one I haven't really used, it's gathered dust. haven't really used since last Christmas time, and it's the Cambridge Satchel. I want to say I got it in 16 inch, but I think it might have been smaller than that. I'm not totally sure. I will put all the information in the info bar, links to where you can buy these things, etc. Or if I found any good eBay sellers, all that kind of jazz. But this is the Oxblood. I think it could be 14 inch, you know, because I bought it to carry my laptop. It is kind of a glorified laptop case. It fits my MacBook, and my MacBook is the smaller of the two sizes of the MacBook, which I want to say that's 13 inch, so I think I got this in 14 inch. But then I could be totally wrong. But the reason that I don't carry this that much is the same reason that I don't carry the Mac Daddy from Rebecca Minkoff that much, because for me, the way that it sits against my body is really long, and it feels cumbersome because it's really, really structured. There's not a lot of give to it. So unless I'm actually carrying my laptop, I might start wearing it again in the autumn winter because the colour is so appropriate. But unless I am carrying my laptop, I don't really reach for it during the summertime. So I haven't worn it for a long time. You may see it again crop up in like a what's in my bag or an outfit of the day soon, because it is kind of very seasonal. I had it embossed with my initials because I'm obsessed with anything embossed with my initials. Anything I can get personalised, I get personalised. I loved it before, but now my initials are the same since I got married. I'm even more obsessed with it. So I had it embossed in silver letters and I just love it. But yeah, it just has the little niggly things, the same as most bags. No bag is perfect. Even my favourite bags have the little niggly, they're heavy or they're difficult to carry or whatever. But I do really like this bag. I just need to make the effort to actually wear it more. Maybe if I wore it more, I'd kind of fall back in love with it. But yeah, it feels really large on me. I wish I'd got a smaller one, but the reason that I bought the bigger one was for my MacBook. So there was rhyme to my reasoning. But that's it. That's every bag, I think, that I wanted to share with you in this video. If you've got any questions, feel free to leave them all in the comments, which is where you leave questions. And like I say, I'll put as much information in the info bar as I can, links, etc. But if I've missed anything, don't feel like you can't ask me. I know that this is a bit of a controversial subject because it's very like, oh, look at all this money that I spent on things. And I didn't go through how much everything was. I mean, these are kind of in the £125 mark, these small Rebecca Minkoff ones, and the other ones are probably more 150 kind of mark. I forget how much the Marc Jacobs one was, but again, linked in the info bar. I have one particular seller of Rebecca Minkoff goods who I definitely recommend. I've bought everything from her that all of them, I think, I bought from her, and she's an amazing seller. She's in the UK, no customs charges, and one of the cheapest, if not the cheapest, you'll find if you live in England. So I will link her as well. But yeah, controversial subject, but hopefully you'll watch it in the tone that it's intended. It's not bragging, I'm just trying to help you guys. If you're thinking of buying a bag like this, then hopefully some of the things that I've gone through will be helpful. And if you just like this kind of video, I love watching collections of any kind, but bag collections, shoe collections, that kind of thing, because it's just cool to see what people like. And I've bought a lot of things that I feel like I don't get a lot of use out of, and hopefully that will maybe make you think, oh well, if she likes this one, because I like this one, maybe I won't like that one either. And more structured bags and longer bags definitely don't get as much use from me. But I did mention, I'm remembering, in the middle of the video that I was going to talk a little bit about my lust list. There are a couple of bags that I have my eye on, not necessarily that I will definitely get, but the Michael Kors Selma is like top of my list at the moment, and it's so unusual for me because, like I say, structured bag, not really me. I like slouchy, throw it in bag. But that's kind of like, I need to go and see one, and I'm going to Leeds tomorrow, and there is a Michael Kors store there, so we shall see. I'm not going to buy anything, but I'm just going to recce what I actually like and things from that. And because I've loved the Louis Vuitton Neverfull so much, I really am interested, and I think this is the brand Goyard. Tell me if I'm wrong. Olivia Pope in Scandal carries this bag, and I've seen the pattern loads of times. I didn't know what the brand was. Similar kind of price point to the Neverfull, so I kind of feel like I'd be going crazy if I bought one so similar for a similar price, because I already was like to buy that one. But I really like the pattern and the different colours that they do, and it's a little bit different because not everyone knows what it is, whereas Louis Vuitton is a little bit flashy, and that's the reason that I went for the Damier Azur. No, I didn't. I wanted the Damier Azur, got the Damier Bean canvas like print rather than the monogram because it was slightly less flashy. But let's face it, we genuinely buy these bags to be a little bit flashy, and if we weren't really bothered then we'd just buy a plain leather bag. If it was just quality then it wouldn't matter where it was from, would it? It's true, it is true. But yeah, there are a couple of things I have my eye on, but let me know what your favourite bags are, what your kind of dream bags, or your all-time wish I could have bags. There are certain bags I know I'll never buy, like Chanel bags and things like that, which are amazing, but I'll never part with that kind of cash, and I don't feel like I could ever carry it without being like, oh my god, don't touch it. I don't ever want to be that precious about anything. But yeah, really long video, so apologies for that, but hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you've got any particular things that you'd like to see in the future, any other kind of collection videos or anything, let me know, and I will try and accommodate all of your requests. Otherwise, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!